Hi, everybody. So, Abby and I are here together today. We're so excited. We haven't seen each other in a while, at least in a Zoom. Um, our our vacation got like postponed, so it's going to be more like in December because we were going to see Abby. And um, my husband loves to call you Abby Dabby Doo.
Oh yeah, you have to put that in the video, why don't you?
So,
That's
anyway,
okay. Just for everybody watching, John, is the only person allowed to call me that. No one else is allowed.
I think my glasses are steaming up. So, anyway, it's so funny. Anyway, we're excited to see each other in person. We are excited to do this show because we're going to talk about all the healing that seems to be speeding up, like it's easier. And we're getting downloads like crazy and learning new things, and we're passing them on to people. And other people are getting activated and doing things like this too. So it's been really fun lately with healing because it's been faster.
It's been really interesting too, because things I normally wouldn't do are showing up, like using tuning forks with groups or getting acupuncture. I've been terrified to do that, and I just actually had an acupuncture section because my body told me it wanted it.
I
So
love acupuncture.
oh, I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it, but I am noticing a big difference because of it. The type
Mhm.
I'm going to is called five element acupuncture, so it's not like it's a specific kind to balance the whole body. But I'm hearing from the woman who's working on me how new things are coming into these very ancient practices, new ways of looking and thinking. And I said to her, I don't think we're in a great awakening. I think we're in a great remembering.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Because we started out as 5D, so not dimension, but density. Humanity started out as fifth density. And I don't think we got to spend very long there. And then we decided that we would come down to third density and
Who
be
the
in
heck
this like
decided that? Come on.
we agreed. We agreed. My inner child was so peeved about that the other day. Um, Lots of dirty words were spewing around in my head from her. And I was like, okay. But she got it all out. But we really agreed to go through the ringer. And I don't think, when you agree to something like that, just like when you get into a relationship and you think that it's going to be okay, but maybe something will go wrong, like it was way worse than we expected, I think.
Well, I think somewhere we left a back door open for interference, and that's what the main
Mhm.
issue has been. It's not that we just had that experience in that realm at that density. We were messed around with by other third parties, let's say. So really
Constantly.
incapacitated for a
Mhm.
long time.
Oh, yeah. And the veil was a big part of that. Um, I don't know what it's looking like in Ireland, but the sunrise this morning was like a neon bright pink. So
Mm.
there's this like the sky is starting to look different again. And I wonder if it's from that cycle we just went through with the moon, which is actually an Earth cycle. But there was a lot of intense energy during the full moon this last time.
Well,
I'm
in
like,
Ireland, which is really interesting to me, is more and more people are talking about the moon and the sun. More people are saying they don't look right. And there's been a few incredible photographs of a bright red ball of something in the sky. And some people have said it's the moon, some people have said it's the sun. To me, I don't know. And what's really interesting is when I see these pictures and they say this is the sunset or this is the moon, I go, that's what you think. And I go,
yeah.
oh, why am I thinking that? It's kind of weird.
Mhm.
But we
It's
have
so
to hold
true.
on to something to keep us grounded and balanced. So, these things will be revealed as we're able to handle them, I think.
They will. They will. The big scandal is the sunflower. I've noticed it keeps popping up. So the sunflower no longer faces the sun anymore. So now they're turned the opposite direction. And I think that's because there's more suns, you know, according to my higher self, we have several suns, but they like those better. So they're turning away from the one that's the simulated sun. And that's what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
all
it's
I
kind of
know
funny.
is here we haven't had the same growth. The flowers haven't been as good. There's been, it's like to see they're skipping a season, and people are saying it's El Nino effect and that they're having a fabulous summer over in Sweden or wherever, somewhere far away from here. But I don't know. I mean, the heat is here, but it's as if they will just cover in the sky so we can't see what's going on. I don't know.
Mm,
And I think I said to you the last time I was on here that a cloud did speak to me at one point and said, say hello. And I'm like, oh, hello, cloud. It's like, thank you for acknowledging that I exist. And I go, you're not a cloud, are you? No. So,
no. There's so many UFOs hidden in the clouds. Somebody sent me one today. We saw a UFO when we were looking at the full moon the other night, John and I, and it was so funny because he's like, "Oh, maybe it's a plane," and then he was like, "No, it is. It is one." And you have
mm.
to look straight up to see them at night. It's much easier if you look straight up. You don't want to look in where the planes are going to be flying, which is lower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we have so much light pollution and clouds. I haven't seen anything in Dublin at all, but we were in Galway. I took my girls away, and the sky was clear for one of those nights. And we definitely saw some satellites, but that was it. And I think maybe it could be because the girls were there. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You only see it if everybody's ready.
mm.
I'm
I'm
always
gonna have to
asking.
turn my heater off. I have my heating on in
Okay.
this in the summer, It's just
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah. It's just rained here and I was really grateful because I don't like there's one plant that's kind of bothering me. And I'm like, well, it'll probably go away during ascension. So I won't have to think about it anymore. But
Oh,
every time it rains, it's like the air is just so beautiful here. But it disappears really quickly because we have the rock is mainly what our soil is. Like it's rock on the top, little tiny rocks.
that's interesting. I was doing a healing session last night and there was 80 people there. And at the very end, we were doing a group healing where everybody does the healing together. And somebody wanted to do healing for plants. And then what came up was healing for rocks and stones and the fabric and the texture of earth, whatever this is, which I thought was very interesting. Even the language is changing. Oh, maybe you could do a reading on this for me. Because I was calling in the ETs and they said, we're not ETs, we are interdimensional beings. And I'm like, okay, that's what I'll call you then. And they said, yeah, that'll do for now. And it's almost like an intermediate name. And I'm
Yeah.
still not comfortable with the name. It doesn't feel like it's the right name for them.
No, I don't think it'll be the name totally because we're basically what's happening is we're on the 5D bridge. So the bridges are like a spiral and they take you up and up and up in the frequency. So a lot of us are on this bridge and we're kind of getting up the stairway a little bit, you know? So the ETs, we'll just call them right now, are closer to us than ever before. And if we wanted to, we could probably get into a certain headspace and actually see them at this point.
Mm.
So I think they want us to start to step up and be willing to see them. And I think we've been bypassing them for a long time because I know I've seen them and then I'm like, oh no, my eyes are closed now. I can't see
Okay,
it.
you brought something up really important
Yeah.
because I was just at my acupuncture session and I was lying there and she was taking my pulse. And I was kind of zoning into a relaxation mode where I was dedicating myself to the session to help so that my presence and focus on the session will help deepen the experience of the acupuncture. And then I got a sense suddenly of all of these beings crowding over the bed looking in. And so I go, oh, you guys have been with me like the whole time because we were working last night together on the session. I said, could you guys like take a step back so that the practitioner can actually register my body and not what my body's doing because you guys are all there around me. And oh yeah, sure, yeah. And they all took a step back. And then somebody said, I got this sense she's gonna have to take your pulse again because she took your pulse with us in and now we're out. And then she came and took the pulse again. So she knew. And I didn't
Yeah.
even say it. I didn't say, oh, my guides and helpers have just taken a step back. Can you take my pulse again? No, she just knew to do it. She just came and did it again.
Mm.
You know, it's so interesting.
Telepathy is like really happening now. I've noticed like there's people that I'll go for a week and I won't talk to them, but I've communicated with them anyway. So it's
Well,
been
I think
really
of you
fun.
and then you text me. So I can
Hmm.
feel the text coming in before it gets to the phone. It's funny.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it.
Yeah,
I
I
had
bet
the
people
funniest,
watching are having all of that. You guys should share in the comments, actually, things that are
yes,
happening to you like that too. It's really validating when we all read that it's happening to everybody, you know, to,
yeah,
yeah.
it's so good. People are just like coming online is what I would say because they're healing themselves and it's easier to heal yourself now than it ever has been. And you're getting a lot of like there's a lot of guidance out there, it seems like. And I feel like the people that were like, you have to come and see me 100 times before you're healed, or it's going to take you 7 years to heal this, or whatever. Like, I feel like that's really fading.
I
Nobody's
think we leave
interested.
it behind when you move to a different frequency
Mm.
because there are people who are still doing that because they're working out of fear that I won't have any clients if I make everybody get better.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
so I think as a client, you are allowed to check in with yourself and see, is my practitioner working from fear? Are they the right person for me? Okay, I don't want to do any more sessions with you. Thanks very much for what we've done. And then go and find someone who is a frequency match for you.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. And people are agreeing to heal things that they've held on to for a long time, too. I've
well, that's the
noticed.
solar flares, I think.
Yeah, all the endless solar activity.
Oh, really shaking up all the stuck bits from the bottom. It's all floating up, and you can sit with it in your field, or you can decide, okay, I'm really going to let this go this time.
Mm. Yeah. Well, and it's a big trust thing too, because a lot of people have gotten kind of attached to whatever illness they may have had or been carrying around, and they don't know how to function without it. So I think there's the conscious mind that wants to let it go, and then there's the subconscious. So as soon as they heal the subconscious and agree to get over it, then it happens. So Lisa and I are going to do a healing that's kind of a quantum akashic thing at the end of the month, and I'm pretty excited because we had some pretty massive results in a practice session. So just
Well, it is.
things
It's like an identity crisis, isn't it?
Mhm. It is. You have to change. You won't be the same person.
No, it's but we're not who we thought we were to begin with.
Mhm. Not at
And
all.
so to release the attachment, and I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a whole lot of people who just won't be able to do that. And maybe they'll come back and do it in their next life, and maybe they won't. But I don't think it's for us to worry about that, to be able to release people where they are. Because I
Yeah.
think the growth in some of us of late, even in the last 6 months, has been so fast that you notice where you're leaving people behind. It feels like you've left people behind, and they're usually people who you were on par with at some point in time. It's like,
Mm.
this is okay. You know, they didn't sign up to do this now. They signed, to stay where they are. And I've noticed this with some healers and some spiritual teachers as well.
Mm.
It's like they're not progressing past a certain point. But then my sense is, well, there are people at that point that still need what these people have to offer. And
Yeah.
that's brilliant because there's always a stepping stone of attainment where
Mm.
you go, okay, now I've read all these books and I need these books and I need these books and I need this thing. And then suddenly you're like, well, actually, do you know, I have all the answers in here I don't need. anyone. And
Yeah.
that's a big leap. That's a huge leap for people to take. And some people are like not ready for that either.
No, but it's growing. It's
Yeah.
growing and it's fun to watch. I've been having a lot of fun. There's been some people around me that have been getting activated, like, and they're so fun to watch because they're so inspired. And it's like watching them be so excited and they're telling you everything and they can't wait to tell you. And I'm like, go for it, this is awesome. So there is a lot of that going on. And I feel like people in general are starting to trust the universe a little bit more. Like they're
Yeah.
starting to let go of the attachments that they've been having. Yeah. So that's really great.
So
Yeah.
I think, if there was a word that would be useful for everyone would be patience, because everyone's at a different stage. I mean, you're saying about the people who are telling you everything and they're so excited, like they're the first ones that have discovered something that maybe we discovered 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So being patient and giving people the time to discover, or being patient with yourself. There's a concept of maybe you don't need to fix anything. Maybe you are perfect as you are, and you can stop the pursuit of perfection and just
Yeah.
be. This is
We,
me. And
mhm.
I like back to the acupuncture. She says to me on our first session, "Can you believe this? Oh yeah, you're not supposed to drink coffee when you're doing acupuncture, and you probably shouldn't drink coffee at all while you're having this treatment for the next 6 weeks." And I'm like, "No, just coffee and me is a non-negotiable." You know. And
I
that's it. So,
know.
the things that you don't want to live without. You could live without them if you wanted to, but you don't have to. You don't have to change every single thing because somebody somewhere says that you're not spiritual. Like Mark Atwood is always saying, you're not spiritual if you eat meat, you're not spiritual if you swear. All of these ideas that they give to us, that we create an ideal version of a person that we will never ever be. We're not
Right.
going to be that.
No. No. And I think, a lot of those were created by the not so nice people. Especially the one that was like, you're not spiritual unless you're struggling financially.
Oh, that's like
That one,
artists
that,
as well. You're not, as a
yeah, and
starving
artists,
artist.
mhm,
Yeah.
huge programs. Yeah. So I think all of that is starting to strip away and people are deciding, yes, I want to be abundant. And that's going to help all the money that is basically waiting for us show up when you decide, yeah, I'm willing to be abundant and accept it,
It's
then that
starting to
kind of
come in for
changes it.
me.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just incredible because I'm just allowing for it to come
Mhm.
in. I didn't tell you this, but I booked a trip to Iceland with my youngest girl, with Shan, for her birthday for November. We're going to go to Iceland for a few days and watch the Northern Lights. And it's like, I can afford to do this now. This is fantastic because people are valuing this work more. And
Mhm.
I think when you pay, then you show up at a higher level. If it's offered for free, you let it slip past. You have to make some kind of an offering, some kind of an energy exchange, and more people are showing up. And you can start to live like a normal person who can go on holidays and not be worried about money and pay your bills and create that as the paradigm for everybody to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm. It's so important because also if you're not giving something in exchange, then you don't actually believe that it's going to work either.
Yeah. And people are
So
so
I've
quick to
noticed that
pay
for
their
years.
hairdresser or their dentist or,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So it's really interesting. And I think as the doctor thing starts to crumble more and more, it's going to change over because we're going to have amazing technology, but most of what we're going to be doing healing wise is going to be maintaining our beautiful vessel, our body, and just continuing to nurture our inner child, our human part of ourselves. That is basically why we're here. We're here for our human part and to lift them or help them lift themselves actually out of this lower density so that they can be free and they know who they are. And that's who's remembering who they are, really.
Mm. Yeah, I remember now because you use that inner child for what I call the egoic personality or the little
Yeah.
you. Because then there's big you, which is higher self, and then little you, which is your personality. And then because within little you, there are inner children. However, where we are at the moment, I think, is that those are dissolving into the personality and no longer. I mean, obviously, it depends on where you are with your healing process, but to be the fully grown, healed adult, embracing all of your eccentricities and allowing yourself to be filled with fun and joy and beauty and light and creativity, like you would put that on a child and say, that's very childlike. I said, no, that's human. That's what we
Yeah.
are. And we need to recognize that we are those joyful one. I mean, look at that. Amazing. Oh my God. We have that in us as the adult who's responsible. And when you're faced with these ideals who are perfectionists and they never make a mistake and they always do everything right, that you're never going to get that. To just say, ah, sure, feck it. I'm recording with honey and I have something on my teeth. So what? I did the
Yeah.
webinar last night. I sent out the wrong link. So what? Hey guys, I sent the wrong link. Here's the right link. Nobody cares, you know?
No, nobody cares. We're all relaxing into it and becoming more and more in flow. And yeah, I mean, we're here to be in joy. And the way that a human being creates is through joy and happiness. And we learn through play so much better than through, like, nobody's going to sit and read, with their nose to the book anymore, especially boring things that somebody made up about history or, things that we know are not real, that have been basically drilled into people. That's the kind of stuff that's just going to pop loose. So that's the
Mm.
programming I think that's going to be really funny to watch as somebody discovers, that dragons are real and there's a huge dragon mountain over there, like right next to them. Yeah.
I know, and it's interesting because my second youngest is going into senior cycle at school, and she's going to take politics. So I said to her, "Ooh, I'm really interested to see what you're studying." And she's like, "No, Mom, I'm not going to share anything with you because I just know what you're going to do. You're going to tell me it's all fake and it's all this and it's all that." And I go, "Well, yeah, of course, because it is. I would never lie, you
Yeah.
know."
It'll be good for her though. She'll be able to discover it on her own. And
Yeah,
it's so volatile right now and falling apart that she'll be able to watch that and she'll be able to look at the book and the things that she's supposed to be learning and she'll be like, hmm, not really. That's not really what's happening. So it'll
yeah.
be really cool, I think.
Well, I
To
remember
hear
when
what she
I was
has
a
to say.
college honey. The way
Hmm.
we were taught in college was that this is a done deal and nothing changes. And this is just the way things are. It was kind of presented like that.
Yeah,
And that really was very difficult for me to get my head around because, geology, just even taking geology, it's like, yeah, well, the earth plates are moving and you do have earthquakes and you do have this and you do have that. Just because it's in a book doesn't mean it's not happening anymore.
yeah,
You can go out and see it in real life, and now all of this disclosure about oil and what oil really is, and it's not a fossil fuel. And even the fact that fossils don't live at that depth of stratification, that it couldn't possibly have ever have been a fossil fuel, and that it was just a bunch of men in suits sitting around trying to decide, well, how could we charge more money for this?
yeah, yeah.
Shocking.
It's huge. Yeah, it's the lymphatic system of the earth, is what it is. And I want to say it was a Saudi prince or something like that. He admitted it, and it was like really old footage. And over the last 6 months, it's been coming out quite a bit on social media. And he's like, it's second, as far as plentiful, it comes second right after water. So it's very plentiful And we don't need it either because we have the ether. I've seen now they have cars that are being revealed that were old that were running off of ether. So Tesla had
Wow.
an ether car. Yeah, so there's all this stuff, that's going to be changing. And if you think of like Ford and his hemp car, um, we're going to be in a totally different kind of world, but we also have transition time. So that's where the patience comes in.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say that's where the
yeah,
patience comes in.
mhm,
Yeah.
and to have
Because when I
time.
took my girls away, we're coming down this mountain into Tipperary. I'm sure I brought you to Tipperary, but there's this beautiful opening and it's just a stunning scenery. But there's a wind farm. I don't know how many windmills, and they were all working at the same time, and the big blades going around and around.
Mhm.
And I just said, if you had two really, really massive ones out to sea, it would make more electricity than all of these little ones that are, and and just to get the kids to think in a different way. Then I
Yeah.
told them what you said about how the blades are so big, the size of the lorry, that they had to make the lorry specially just to carry the blades for
Mhm.
these things. But just to say, this is not a done deal and this is not perfection, and we need to keep working and we need to get better. And even just looking, and I'm bringing up Mark Atwood again, but he's got some new technology now in Boyle in his healing center, and his stuff I've never seen before is being released out to us. And there's some incredible things. I heard another one today. Have you heard of a bee bed?
No, bees have
B
great
E
vibes.
E Bee bed. And and on the spiel on the
I'm gonna write that
website it
down.
says this has been done since the beginning of time. So I never heard of it. So they have these special little rooms that are like little caravan rooms, and they put a bed on top of the hive, but they build it in such a way that the bees are
Mhm.
contained in the hive and the bees are in the wall. And you lie down on the bed and you just can go on a journey, and you feel the vibration and the humming of the bees, and just being surrounded by them totally is a healing experience. It's like, wow. So it's something that you could have done in the olden days. I've never heard of it. And here it is. Oh yeah, we were doing this forever. And it's like, what?
Yeah, I think things are being allowed to show up to the public now. Um, there's so beekeepers live longer than anybody, really, because they're
Hmm.
around the bees, so they get the vibration, which is a certain frequency. The venom, so if they get stung, it's actually good for them. They don't age as fast. Like there's so many things with bees. And bees are also really amazing because a lot of them they they float. They have a chamber inside their body, the bumblebee especially. And the bumblebee flies anyway, even though the wings could never support them because they have levitation. They have an empty spot
That's
that
amazing.
fills up. Yeah. So it's just amazing. Like nature is amazing. Sometimes nature is extraordinarily funny. Like the platypus is like the weirdest little animal.
All the leftover bits stuck together.
Yeah, all the weird stuff sucked together.
Yeah, and I
So
think about octopus a lot because to me, they're a multidimensional being that somehow got trapped in here. I don't think that they're in the program, so to speak. And yeah, it's interesting.
it is. It's really interesting. And I think just being open-minded and working on yourself and doing things in nature and continuing to kind of pick away or peel away at the layers of what this world that we've been in has created, and starting to see more and more of the what's really there in front of us, that's going to change everything for people as we go. And some people will not want to, but that's their choice. And some people will not ascend in their bodies, and that's their choice. So
Yeah, I
I
think I was
had,
saying it to you that I was
mhm,
having a conversation with somebody on Facebook who said the window for let's say, the neurological healing of my body has closed. And I'm like, what? But here's the thing, for them, if they've decided that, then it's true.
mhm,
Because we're that powerful, we can shut down the healing in our body. So if we give our authority to a doctor who says you're going to get sick and die, and we agree with that, then we do. We get sick and we die. If we say, no, I'm going to find an alternative, I'm going to open that window, then we do. And something will
Yeah.
come through the window that will help. It could be a bee, it could be a book, it
Yeah.
could be.
It could be
So,
a natural doctor or a healer. Yeah.
yeah, a different type of healing. So I said to them, basically, I said, if your body has stalled or stopped in the progress of your healing, it's possible that you're missing a resource, that your body needs something that it's not getting. And it's not necessarily diet related. It could be oxygen, it
Mhm.
could be some kind of one of these new therapies, it could just be that you're more stressed than you realize, or it could be that you've decided that the window of opportunity has closed and that's what's blocking you in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many programs that come out of our mouths that we don't necessarily think about too.
We don't even
So,
know.
yeah, thinking about what you're saying and listening to yourself is important too,
Yeah,
I think, because we own a
absolutely.
lot of stuff that we don't want to own.
Yeah, but each
Yeah.
word has a power. Each word is a packet of energy. Each letter in the word, even when you look at the shapes of the letters, they hold energy in the shapes of letters. And you say a word, it comes like baggage. There's this shamanic dismemberment, which I've talked about before, which is when you literally dismember the word. You take apart all of the packets of energy, and then you look at each piece of baggage that comes with this thing and recognize it. This is where that came from. That's the person that handed this to me, and I'm not going to accept that anymore. And you dissolve it away so that the word then is open and free and light.
Yeah.
The two biggest examples of words would be like God. You say God, it can hold a lot of baggage. You say love, that can hold a lot of baggage. You strip away all of that, and then suddenly you're in flow, you're open, you're light, higher frequency. So,
Hmm. Yeah. It's been really interesting to watch, um, too. Like, so there's a lot of upgrading going on around me lately with people and listening to what they're saying and trying to just let them go forward on their course and not really like say, I did say the other day, well, I told you that 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, that was really
but
rude.
that's your healing process,
Yeah,
to let them go and be patient with them as they do it themselves.
yeah. It's good though. It's so good, really, to watch. There was something else I was gonna say, but I totally forgot what it was.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah,
It really is. Like I told my mom something the other day and she couldn't argue with me. That was like your body is in shock after any kind of surgery.
mhm,
End of statement. And she's like, oh yeah, okay.
yeah. Well, I don't think we've given our bodies very much credit in the past. I mean, we've manipulated them with weird diets and pushed them too far with like, I don't know, sports, maybe sports that are a little too much and broken bones and jumped out of planes and done a lot of stuff that maybe the body is not okay with because we haven't checked. We haven't asked, are you okay with this? Do you want to do it?
Yeah, what? I'm learning. I'm going through a healing process at the moment with my body, another one, because I've
Mhm.
changed my shoes. It's really
Yeah.
interesting to me. Part of the problem that I've been having for a lot of my life in the chronic pain area has been because I get muscle as atrophy, and certain muscles just don't activate, they don't switch on, and they don't help me. So the other side of one side of my body is overdoing it. The other side is like, I'm not doing anything. And I
Yeah.
changed my shoes to try barefoot shoes. And I don't know why. I just decided, yeah, I'm ready now. And I tried it. And you have to ease yourself in. You can't go cold turkey on this. You can't just swap your shoes for these. But I'm at the point now where I'm wearing them all the time and looking for the winter ones because I don't want to get cold because they're very light and very summery. But what I'm finding is that the muscles that didn't work before are starting to be switched on automatically. And I'm walking, but my legs feel weird. And then the one that's overdoing it is starting to go, okay, I have mechanical issues because I'm relaxing now. I don't need to be on duty all the time. And this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. So patience as I come back in. It doesn't mean the barefoot shoes are wrong. And I was saying this to my healing session last night. It's like a healing crisis where suddenly you realize, okay, this leg really has been in a bad way. It really has been doing too much, and this other leg needs to get stronger. So, again, taking the time to go through that and having the injuries to right yourself is a stronger foundation. So interesting.
Totally. Yeah, I love the barefoot shoes. I have 2 pairs and I just ordered 2 more. And John is like, "What are you doing? Why do you need so many of those kinds of shoes?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to wear these all the time." So I have to have them for
You're
different,
doing it too. It's so
yeah,
interesting. And
I
that, like,
love
another
them.
layer is revealed, and this is the next
Mhm.
thing. We're all working on something similar. Yeah.
Yeah, because your feet can spread out. I don't know about you, but my pinky toe is so squashed next to that other toe, like it's been squashed its whole life, and
Oh,
it's finally free, you know. So I recommend the barefoot shoes if you can, find them. They're
yeah,
not that
I've
expensive
not had
anymore.
any arches. And so my feet, because the shoe is doing all the work for my feet have gotten really lazy, and my ankles and the stability hasn't been good because I guess the shoe was doing all of that stabilization and support. My body wasn't doing it, but it wasn't helping me. It was like a band-aid. And so now my ankles are getting stronger. I'm stabilizing, and sure, you have the wider spread for the toes as well. Because I think as you get older, your toes start to curl in. And I was noticing my feet starting to change and go, I don't want my feet to be unhealthy, because your feet are your foundation for your whole of your body health. And I walked on the sand and I saw my footprint, and I do have an arch. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, when your feet are lazy, doesn't it make sense, that your feet are working, then the muscle is starting to grow and get stronger.
Mhm.
So yeah.
It's a huge difference. Just little things can make a huge change in your body. So, some little tincture that you might be taking. So tune into your body, ask your body, okay, well, I got rid of that emotional thing. Do you want anything else? Is there anything else that you want? And if you don't get an answer, just kind of go stand in front of the vitamins at the store and see where you're pulled,
Bring your
you know?
pendulum to the supermarket and stand there
Yeah,
like a crazy person. What is it that I need? And then it's going to stand straight out and you have to follow.
I mean, in the future, probably yes. For some people, I
Oh,
have one friend and her pendulum. I've never seen anything swing so fast. Like it's crazy. And I don't use one, but which is probably good because I'm talking to
well, you
myself,
are
but it's
one.
not out loud. Yeah, I am one.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. We're all growing so much right now, and just being grateful for all the gifts that you're accumulating that are like being uncovered. Like, oh, I let go of this blanket of ideas, and now I have this beautiful gift that I never knew was there. So we're
Oh.
really uncovering stuff right now.
I think it
It's
would be
great.
useful for people watching this to come into their bodies more and just recognize the difference in the texture of a thought when it's from here, and how it feels different when it's from in here,
Yeah.
in the heart, because we think and talk and listen and don't listen and get distracted too much. And oh, you need this vitamin, you need that thing. It might not be what you need. You're listening to the thought forms, which are high, not necessarily high frequency, but they're busy and they're fast, and you think that they're yours. But if you come in to the body and take the time to breathe and come right into the heart, and then you're listening from the heart, when you ask your body, what do you need? It's not up here at all. It's here or in your gut. And you're
Yeah.
bypassing the gut bacteria who like to talk and say what they want. You're not feeding your gut bacteria, you're feeding your body. So it's tuning in that radio to the frequency of the right thing to listen to.
Mhm.
That's the difference.
It's huge. It's a huge difference. And that's where your God spark is. So that's where that spark of source lives, is in the solar plexus now. It used to be down by the belly button, but it's moved for most people. And it's right there lighting up the heart. And I think it was Joe Dispenza that I heard this morning say, when you activate your heart, it goes out 9 feet. So
Mm,
you have 9 feet or 3 meters of energy that's going outside your body, and your whole body's lighting up.
that's
It's
amazing.
magnificent.
And you say Joe Dispenza, it's just funny for me, the spiritual teachers that show up. A friend of mine said he just got off the phone talking to Greg Braden. He actually had a phone
Oh
call with
yeah,
him about some equipment and technologies that he's developing. It's like these people are accessible. We're all working together to create something better for everybody.
we
It's
are.
really, really good. Really good.
Mhm. And there's no hierarchy. I mean, really, everybody is wherever they're supposed to be, and they're doing something in that spot. So valuing them for whatever they're doing in that moment, even if it looks really crazy and it's something that you don't necessarily agree with, maybe they're breaking things up that need to be broken up. Maybe that is a purpose that they need to fulfill. So just letting everybody do whatever it is that they wish to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can I ask you a few questions and see maybe we get some answers because did I send you a photograph? I definitely sent you a voicemail when I was out with my girls and there was
Oh,
this little woman in a truck making dumplings and the girls wanted to order dumplings and they went up to her and they're so shy, but this woman was just sitting there as if she was inanimate. So I said to the girls, you have to like knock on the window and say, hello, we'd like to order dumplings. And they did that. But my girls are kind of introverted. But then the woman snapped into action and got and oh, you'd like to, and she did the order and she did the cooking. And I said to you, it's really like an NPC. Like she was just totally switched off until they said the right words to switch her back on again. And then I said it to the girls, she was like an NPC. And they're like, yeah, she really was. And it's really interesting that they agreed with me. Because when
yeah.
we finished, we turned around and she was back sitting there inanimate again. She wasn't moving, she wasn't looking at her phone, she wasn't doing anything. So I'm interested to know, what's the percentage of awake people compared to the NPCs at the moment?
Um, there is the awake people have grown, but there's the majority of everybody is an NPC at this point. I mean, I get 79% right now are NPCs. And some of them are NPCs with a human consciousness, but no big soul to carry them through. So they're either going to get a walk in, or they're going to go ahead and upgrade without their body, like ascend without their body. And she felt more like a hologram, the
Yeah,
lady.
it was
So
like
she was,
AI or something.
yeah. And we're noticing that more and more. So we have a mutual friend, and we laughed about the story of you and I going on a flight, and then we were the only ones that had bags at the end. And she was like, I think was the only one that had a bag. There was something that identified that she was the only real person on the plane. And she got off of it, and she told me this story, and I was like, oh, that's like me and Abby. That's our experience that we had. And it's so bizarre when you're having it because people, they feel real, some of them. But the two that I was sitting next to, they just repeated the same thing over and over and over. So there was no real beings besides you and I on that plane. And I remember being on another plane and asking, and I think it was when I was coming back from Tallahassee, and I was asking how many humans are on this plane. And I got two. Besides me, there was two. And it was a man and his little child. And they walked by me and I was like, there's the humans. The rest are just not even real. And I think that's, part of what we're going through. And we're realizing that travel is not what we thought it was either. Like planes are running off of the ether once they get to a certain um height, a certain altitude. And that's being proven now. Whereas we were just
Wow.
talking about it and conjecturing about it before. Now it's being proven.
I don't want to look because I have a few flights booked. But
Well, it
when you're
has to do
talking,
the motor runs off the ether. So basically it's built just like a Tesla thing. And they say that they store all the fuel in the wings.
yeah,
I'm like, seriously? There's no way. There's too much going on in those wings. There's no way. I mean, you would have like a 3,000-gallon silo that would have to somehow fit in the plane. You would have no room for people.
I know.
Yeah.
There's
So,
yeah, it is. It's so interesting. It really is. I was just remembering being on that beach when I was in Sardinia that was so busy, but everybody was behaving themselves so well. Nobody played loud music, nobody was playing ball, and it was like they just were behaving in a certain boundary and going, this isn't bad. I didn't feel like there was a ton of people on top of me, maybe because they weren't people, it was
no,
just
because you created them so that you wouldn't be lonely on the beach or that it would feel normal. And that's what we're doing all the time. We're like, and sometimes when you flip into a new parallel and you go somewhere and you expect there to be, normally there'd be a lot more traffic, and then all of a sudden there's hardly anybody. That happened the other day with John and I was like, oh, we just flipped into a new parallel. It's
mm,
not built yet.
very strange.
Yeah,
Well, it's like
it's
you said
strange.
how do you remember I told you the last time I was on about my glasses falling out the window and then they were right there by the bed?
Yes.
I heard another story like that was a nurse. So this nurse was walking to work and she was drinking a can of Coca-Cola. And at work, she has to tie her hair back with a bobbin. I don't know what you guys call a scrunchie. And she
Yeah.
had bought this scrunchie while she was away, and it was flowers on it, and she loved it. And you can't buy it where she lived. And she had put the scrunchie around the can of Coke because she didn't want it around her wrist for whatever reason. She finishes her can of Coke and throws it in a skip and keeps walking, and then realizes, oh no, I just threw away my favorite scrunchie, but I'm late for work. So I have to keep going. Oh, well, never mind. And then she said, well, I have to borrow something from triage to wrap my hair up or whatever. She gets into work and opens her locker. And what's in her locker?
Her favorite
The can
scrunchie.
of Coke with the scrunchie around it.
Ah, yeah. That is, I mean, she created it. So I love that she froze laughing. So it's just awesome what's going on right now. I absolutely love it.
She there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
you just
you
froze the
froze.
Zoom.
Yeah, you froze like in a smile. So it was awesome. So yeah, I just think things are amazing right now with all of that. And we're really figuring it out. The Richard Simmons thing, there's this guy on TikTok, and every day he comes on and talks about the new things that are not right, the new Mandela effects, the timelines shifting. And he's like this cool guy, like he is bouncing when he walks and he's having just a blast talking about it. So it's such a great way to present it, you know, but it's
Yeah, if
real.
we're remembering how powerful we are
Mhm.
as we're healing ourselves. And what I've really found is that when you stop deliberately sabotaging yourself, you're on your own side. because you've
Yes.
released the guilt and the shame and the anger and the anguish and the trauma, and you're no longer punishing yourself. That way you can work with yourself to create a life you love. And that's what more people are actually doing, that because that's where we're moving to. It's like
Hmm.
you're allowed to be joyful. You're allowed to have fun.
Hmm.
Let's do this together. So maybe if those of you are listening don't feel like you're at that point yet, it might be worthwhile sitting down with a notebook and going, okay, where am I still angry at me? What
Yeah.
have I not letting go of yet in my relationship with myself? My relationship with myself, because that's the foundation relationship for all of your other relationships. And if you have a good
Yes.
relationship with yourself and you support yourself and you look after yourself and you're responsible for your own needs, then everything just ripples outward from there.
And knowing that all of that is possible. You don't need anybody else. You don't need anything else. Anyone telling you how to operate in life. There's suggestions everywhere. Take what works for you and let the rest go. And do what is in your own vibration, you know?
Yeah.
So this was so much fun.
Yeah, so
We have
maybe if
fun.
you're still watching this, you're one of the only 5 actual human beings that are going to watch this video, and the rest are all NPCs now.
Now, I think our group is very awake and very human. There are there are other, things that are being watched that probably only 5% are real, especially the news, like the mainstream media. I would be shocked if anybody that is awakened is watching that on a regular basis.
Yeah. I
I
don't
would say,
even dip into it anymore, I just have lost total interest in it.
yeah, because it's going to die and we might as well just let it die and quit looking at it.
Yeah, I used to think I need to take the temperature of what's going on in the world right now. And I'm like, but that's not my world anymore.
Mm.
I don't care. They can say whatever they like. I'm here doing my stuff, and my stuff is much more interesting. So, to me,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, and much more fulfilling, so, and everybody's got their stuff that they like to do. So make sure you make time for it. That's what I would say.
Yeah, do, because if you get upset and distraught and distracted about stuff on the news, then you're losing those pieces of yourself that you could be using to do something that you love, to add to the world, to the nutrients and the richness of this world that we're creating. We need you back. Stop
Yes.
watching the news.
Yes.
It's designed
Okay.
to disappoint you. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter which side you're on. There's always going to be something to grab you and bring you over here and bring you over there and dip you into sadness and devastation. And don't let them hold you that way.
No. Use your beautiful energy for yourself.
Yeah, forgive
Yep.
yourself for everything you've done in your life and or didn't do, and heal that relationship with yourself. And then the world is your oyster.
It really is. Yep. And there's a pearl in there. Okay. I love this. This was so fun. Thank you so much, Abby.
Oh, thank you. I always love chatting with you, honey. Thank
Oh, it was
you.
great. Yes. Thank you. Bye, everybody. We're sending you lots of
Bye.
love.